Assalamu alaikum and good evening to you all. I would like to request everyone to rise and stand at attention while the national anthem of the host country, Saudi Arabia and Sri Lanka being played.
Thank you. Sometimes your light shines so bright that it blinds people from seeing who you really are. Sometimes your light shines so bright that it blinds people from seeing who you really are. Said by Shannon Elder. Our chief guest this evening, His Excellency Ghulam Moshi, the Ambassador of Bangladesh to Saudi Arabia. Guest of honor, Mr. Mohammad Rasuldeen, Senior Journalist, Arab News. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are gathered here on an invitation by Mr. and Mrs. Ifthikar, while stating their lovely daughter, Zainab Ifthikar, on a symbolic achievement. It's now time to welcome you all. To deliver the welcome address, I would like to call upon one of Sri Lankan community's prominent personality, a close associate to Mr. and Mrs. Ifthikar, past Vice President, Sri Lankan Expatriate Society, past President, Sri Lanka Serendip Toastmasters Club. Help me welcome Mr. Shamil Hamid to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Imtiaz.
Good evening. We have all gathered here this evening for the felicitation of Ms. Zainab Ifthikar for publishing her book, Poverty is Not Passivity. On behalf of Mr. Ifthikar and Dr. Kifaya Ifthikar and Ms. Zainab Ifthikar, I welcome the chief guest this evening, the Ambassador of Bangladesh to Saudi Arabia, His Excellency Ghulam Moshi. I welcome the guest of honor, Mr. Qasim Rasuluddin, senior journalist attached to Arab News, the principal of Sri Lankan International School, Mr. Nazir, Sri Lankan Embassy diplomats and their staff, other dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, I will welcome you all for this felicitation event. This event is indeed a milestone in life of Zainab Ifthikar because this is her first step towards making our world a better place. Her book, Poverty is Not Passivity, highlights the extremity of poverty, and it will make you believe in the depths that humanity can take you to. Her book was no fortuitous incident. It was systematic and planned approach of delivering her message so that we will do something for the betterment of the society. I wish her all the best in her future endeavors, and I hope that she attains greater heights in the future. Before I wind up my speech, just a note. When I was coming here, somebody asked me, who is Zainab Ifthikar? I simply told her, she's a student from the Bangladesh International School, recording 7 stars in a GC O-level exam. I was about to tell you to give a round of applause, so you already did that. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome you all for this event. Thank you.
To accompany our chief guest and the guest of honor, along with Ms. Zainab Ifthikar on stage. Take their seat. The next item is a keynote address. This gentleman needs no further introduction. I don't want to waste my time introducing him because if I start to introduce him, he will miss the flight. He has a flight within 1.5 hours. He's flying to China. With the request of Mr. Ifthikar, he is here to deliver. Help me welcome Mr. Niron Disanayak as the keynote speaker for this evening.
His Excellency, the Ambassador of Bangladesh to Saudi Arabia, our guest of honor, Mr. Rasuluddin, Mr. and Mrs. Ifthikar, and our beloved Rose here, Zainab Ifthikar. We have a very famous saying here. We say, like father, like son. It's high time for us to change it to like mother, like daughter. But in this male-dominating world, I don't think it's acceptable. So let's try to call it. We have a lady with an iron fist. We all very fondly call her Dr. Kifaya. Why I call iron fist? Her fist is so rough and tough. She removed the tooth of people. But that is for her job because she is a dental surgeon. If you'd see her heart, I don't think we have a soft heart in the whole Riyadh than hers. When people are in difficulty, when people are in pain, when people are not fairly treated, her heart melts, her heart cries. She's such a lady who is ready to when the males look for explanation, looks for excuses to evade their responsibilities. She's such a lady who is ready to go down 200 kilometers, 300 kilometers just to look after somebody, some needy housemaid or a Sri Lankan woman who is looking for some help. I'm not going to actually, this is not the forum to talk about Dr. Kifaya. If I want to talk about Dr. Kifaya, I may need about one day. So let's come to the topic. One day we had a farewell function for an ambassador. So we asked Dr. Kifaya also to come and deliver a speech. Dr. Kifaya last minute called me and said, Mr. Niron, I cannot come because I am busy with some housemates issue in Jeddah. They were stranded somewhere. I want to somehow make sure that they get some tickets and go back to Sri Lanka. So I'm just working on that. Please excuse me, but I'm sending my daughter with a written script. Let her read it on my behalf. She probably would have been about 12 years at that time, or maybe 11 years or something. My only concern was that we have some prominent speakers in this society. When they come to the lectern, they never asked, can you hear me? When you want to test the mic, you ask, can you hear me? But there we have some gentlemen in our society, when they come to the lectern, they don't ask, can you hear me? They ask, can you see me? So for such people, we have some special lecterns. So I was thinking, okay, this girl, 11 years, okay, because of this, the lectern is too short to accommodate certain people in our society. This girl also can be accommodated without a problem. And she came, delivered a wonderful speech without any hesitation, as if she has been a very, very experienced speaker. And I think 1 or 2 days afterwards, I called back Dr. Kifaya and said, Dr. Kifaya, you had a very well, nicely crafted speech, and your daughter did a wonderful job. And then she asked, was it a good speech, Mr. Niron? Yeah, of course, it was nicely crafted. Mr. Niron, I did not have time to craft the speech. That speech was crafted by my daughter. You know, at that time I thought this girl cannot be a normal 11-year-old, 12-year-old girl. She has something much more than that in her. But I couldn't, of course, prove that. I did not have time to even discuss it with somebody. After probably 2-3 years now, she is sitting here, or rather about 2 weeks ago, she has been in Sri Lanka with a prominent minister launching her book back at home. A girl of 11, actually I'm not going to talk about her book because a lot of people are writing books, but somebody who has written a book when she was at the age of 14, 15 years, it's nice to analyze. She, at this age, she has born with a silver spoon in her hand. Her mother is a doctor, her father is an engineer. She was born in Saudi Arabia. What more you need to have a silver spoon in her hand? But a girl who has born with a silver spoon in her hand, at the age of 11, 12 years, think of poverty? I think at this age, she must be thinking of the fashions, how she can have more friends on Facebook, the social media. I think that she must be spending her time, if you really see her, the children of her age, what doing. She must be doing these type of things, but I'm sure she has got the inspiration from the house, the home itself, the mother and the father. The mother, as her, the heart pains when somebody is in poverty, the inspiration would have come from her, from home, and she has been talking about, thinking about, studying about, reading about, writing about poverty. I think this is more than enough for us to wish this girl, wish this Rose in sitting here, all the very best in her future endeavors. As Shamil rightly mentioned, her first step in changing the lives of people, changing the world. I think from the bottom of my heart, Zainab, I like to wish you all the very best in your future endeavors. You have kept a very, very good step towards changing the world. Keep on going. You are set to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Niron Disanayaka. 15-year-old Zainab Ifthikar, a student of the Bangladesh International School in Riyadh, who has excelled her IGCSE examinations with flying colors, recently obtaining all A stars. Her ability in speaking Bangla, Hindi, Tamil and English. I'm sure she is also fluent in Sinhalese. Has made very popular among many communities in Riyadh. Young Zainab Ifthikar has proved that an opportunity or a stage is not a fundamental requirement to showcase the talent of public speaking in this modern era. I was one of them mesmerized by watching one of her Arabic speaking in a fluent Arabic manner in the social media, as well as a Sinhalese speech. Both are on the occasion of national days of Saudi Arabia and Sri Lanka. She also a frequent writer to the Sunday Times newspaper of Sri Lanka and many other websites. And today, an additional feather on her cap, an additional title to her, named as authoress. The author of the book, Poverty is Not Passivity, a book with 30,000 words, written in less than 30 days. I think most of the students here wondering, writing an essay of 150 words within the given time and comparing 30,000 words within 30 days. I'm sure she was not having the 30 days, 24/7 to write this book. The young author has written this book based on a tragic story of an underage victim. The message is very clear in that book. Poverty is not the absence of money. It is the absence of kind heart. It is now time to call the authoress to share her experience. Help me welcome the young authors of our community as well as the Bangladesh school, Zainab Ifthikar, to share her experience.
Our chief guest this evening, the Ambassador of Bangladesh to Saudi Arabia, His Excellency Ghulam Moshi, Guest of Honor, Mr. Qasim Rasuldeen, Senior Journalist, Arab News, Sri Lankan Embassy diplomats and staff, Principal of Sri Lankan International School, Mr. Nazir, members of the Board of Directors in Sri Lankan International School, members of Serendip Toastmasters, other distinguished guests, my dear teachers, family and friends, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum, Aibawan, and good evening. I wish to begin my speech with the one thing that has bound this event together, my book, Poverty is Not Passivity. This title was chosen after great consideration and refinement, and the meaning behind it highlights the idea that poverty does not make any man passive, submissive, or inert to every action of society. Just because you are poor, it doesn't mean that you have to accept the afflictions of society. Even if you are poor, you have the ability to defy the life that you were born with. Several people ask me this question, again and again, what made you write this book? I simply replied to them saying that I had a dream. Today, God has given me the opportunity to realize that dream and to share it with all of you. From a very early age, I had an undeterred passion for journalism. My favorite journalist was CNN's chief correspondent, Christiana Amanpour. I had a fierce love for the way she used to debate. And after watching her on TV, I began to mimic her. I copied her gestures and imitated her tone of speech. Now, I would do recording upon recording until I sounded like her. My dad's mobile phone is full of CNN interviews. I can remember distinctly how I would act as Christiana Amanpour asking the questions, and then I would answer to myself acting as Barack Obama or some other global leader. I interviewed everyone from my parents to my grandparents to my mother's hospital staff until I ran out of questions. I never imagined in my wildest dreams that amateur journalism would take me to the doorstep of reading, another beautiful journey. My mother gave a lot of importance to education. So my dad and I would sneakily go to Jareed bookstore, buy the books, come home, and hide them from her. But honestly, I think that was the most beneficial hiding in history, because without being a reader, I cannot be a writer, and I wouldn't have had this platform today. Reading leads to writing, but writing requires another skill. It is quite wrong to think that to write, you just need a pen. To write, you also need a heart. You have to give your work a pulse. You have to make people believe in your words, instill hope in them, and have the potential to change the world. It is not about the quantity you write, it is rather the quality that matters. I started to write my book on the 4th of June, 2015. But my career in writing didn't begin there. It had begun several years ago. My first writing endeavor began in the year 2008. That year, at the age of 8, I had written to Tinkle, which was a popular comic in India, and they had published my work around 5 times. I was also introduced to Kids Can Publish, which is a forum for young writers in Arizona, USA, and they had published 3 of my articles as well. In the year 2014, I had written to the Sunday Times in Sri Lanka, and my article regarding the media, titled "A World Without the Media is Like a Soul Without a Spirit," was published. In the same year, I wrote to Saudi Radio, which is Saudi Arabia's first English radio channel, and they had hosted a broadcast featuring my article regarding the ecosystem. Along with all these prominent entities that stand out, I've also been a frequent contributor to an array of other forums. And after my book was published, I was nominated as a candidate for the UK-based book Who is Who, which is a book that recognizes people for who they are. Many newspapers in Sri Lanka and Arab news in Saudi Arabia have spread the word about my book and have encouraged me to go further in life. I thank the media for helping me achieve so much in my writing career. Ladies and gentlemen, now, I think it's time to tell you the inspiration behind my book. When I turned 6 years old, the dark story of Rizana Nafiq came to light. After several struggles, Rizana let out her last breath. And that episode in my life had had a huge impact on me because I grew up for 7 years listening to a heartbreaking story. And I knew I couldn't remain silent. After great scrutiny, I discovered that the reason why Rizana went abroad to work as a maid was due to extreme poverty in Sri Lanka. And I told myself, if I put an end to extreme poverty, maids will not go overseas, and they won't face problems that follow. Rizana was just one girl, but there might be hundreds of other girls like her who are beyond my scope of seeing. After Rizana's death, I made up my mind to have an initiative to save those girls and to relieve them from their agony of poverty. So I lifted my pen. I lifted my pen so that those girls will not put their heads down. When Rizana closed her eyes, I decided to open mine. To narrate the story of a little girl, I have dedicated 3 chapters of my book to Rizana Nafiq, and they attempt to describe the bond between 2 little girls. The experiences that I had, along with my mother's deep indulgence in social working, Rizana's death, and the heart-touching stories that I grew up listening to, had led to the writing of Poverty is Not Passivity. It is the book that describes poverty to the core, but I feel that it is my way of justifying the tears that my mother shed when Rizana died. Extreme poverty is the idea around which my book revolves. But in it, I have also questioned the miscellaneous forms of atrocity that poverty causes. Because poverty is not only hunger and homelessness. Poverty is also illiteracy, ignorance, inequality, and injustice. Living in this quagmire, our world has failed time and again to recognize the global emergence of putting an end to extreme poverty. Sometimes I question myself. Why are we looking for other life forms out in space when we aren't settled with our own kind down here on Earth? After the tragic glimpse of what this world really is, I understood one thing. Poverty is not the absence of money, it is the absence of heart. The poor lack 2 aspects in life. One is motivation, and the other is opportunity. If these two components become part of their life, then they too can have a chance to live with dignity. They can have a chance to live as a human at least once. Ladies and gentlemen, my book has attempted to reach out to the general public and the lawmakers of our country so that they will be concerned in this global issue. I want every youngster to think about the world beyond their luxurious lives. Every youngster should think of the poor before a morsel of food goes down their throat. I've heard many girls of my age say, "Turn off the tap, you're wasting water," or "Turn out the lights, you're wasting electricity." But I think that this is not enough. This is not enough. Avoiding a wastage is only a form of appreciation for what we have. It is not a form of provision for what poor people don't have. So, take a stand and do something bigger. Take a stand and do something bigger to make someone better. In our future, we must ensure that we will never see a roadside beggar. We must ensure that no child will be deprived of an education due to poverty, and no child should be deprived of the nonchalant childhood that Rizana never had. We must ensure that our governments take an initiative to provide good housing, sanitation, quality education, clothing, and employment for the poor. Underprivileged people are like little children left in our care. We are their parents, and no parent abandons his child. Ladies and gentlemen, in every holy book and in every religion, we are told to help others, not to hurt them. And believe me, there is nothing more painful than silence. So don't be silent. Don't be silent. Rise up for the call. Let us eradicate extreme poverty. Even though presidents, politicians, leaders, and human rights activists are all striving to attain the same goal, I thought that my contribution to their fight will reinforce their struggle and make me feel like I have played the role that society has reserved for me. Ladies and gentlemen, my book was written with a lot of difficulties. There were several sleepless nights I had spent staying up late to write and then type the book. The statistics and data that I had collected for my book was not a single night's research. I had to do a lot of nerve-wracking work. There is this organization called Nona Foundation, which is an NGO in the Netherlands, and it has a branch in Sri Lanka for supporting victimized women for encouraging their self-employment. I interviewed the Nona Foundation chairman in the Netherlands regarding the work he does and how the future of Sri Lanka can be shaped. That interview had inspired me to write the chapter, Nona Foundation, a synonym for rebirth. Because I believe that a woman is not just flesh and bones. She is also pride and power. She is a symbol of valiance. She is a symbol of hope. I didn't stop my research at Nona Foundation. I continued my investigation and visited the Divinaguma Relief Organization in the Divisional Secretariat in Kandy. Divinaguma is a governmental organization for supporting the poor across the island. It's like Grameen Bank in Bangladesh. I collected data and statistics from the Divinaguma director by interviewing her regarding the slow progress of our underprivileged society. I spoke to her about the donations and grants that they provide, and after conducting a thorough research on what they do and how they have been helping, I decided to write a chapter for them as well. After Divinaguma, I visited one of the prominent tea plantations in the Nuwara district, and I interviewed the plantation workers regarding their well-being and their lifestyle. I later took pictures of the estate and its state, which I have incorporated in the book, and I wrote about their lifestyle in chapter 25. I had attempted tirelessly as well to contact Dr. Yunus, the banker to the poor and the father of Grameen Bank in Bangladesh. But unfortunately, due to my time limitation and his busy schedule, I was unable to interview him. After gathering the necessary information, I approached several publishing houses in Colombo and Kandy, and in order to get the quotations, I had to travel 5 times to Colombo. However, only one publishing house agreed to take up the book due to the short time I had given them. I wanted the book to be published quickly because I had to get back to Riyadh for my AS. The time had come to invite the chief guest for the book launch at Galadari, Colombo. So we approached Honorable Patali Champika Ranavaka. To invite him, we had to go through a lot of procedures, and it demanded a lot of Herculean efforts, until finally, we reached his personal advisor, who accepted our invitation. In Honorable Minister's speech, he had mentioned that for a girl of my age, from the Muslim community, to do something like this is not a very common phenomenon in our country. And those words had encouraged me to do something more for my nation. After many more other interviews and visits to key places, the book was finally completed. By the time, I was reduced to half my size, but my spirits were twice their height. I felt exhilarated. Every one of my veins was throbbing with excitement. I felt contented at heart that I had made my contribution to society. I have rendered my first message to humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, the courage that amateur journalism had given me had strengthened my cause. The universe that my books had teleported to me had given me a wide array of perspectives, and I explored the world of possibilities that my pen had given me. I'm thankful to my parents for giving me the freedom to combine those three wonderful things that happened to me in my life, and to write this book to realize my ambition. It is my ambition to become a human rights activist and a journalist someday, but it is my parents' dream for me to become a doctor. I will first fulfill their dream, and after that, I will fulfill mine. In the future, using these three professions, I hope to serve my nation, which has given me an identity in this society. I would like to take this opportunity to thank His Excellency Mr. Ghulam Moshi for accepting our invitation, and guest of honor, Mr. Qasim Rasuldeen, for supporting my cause. Thank you to my parents who have made me the person who I am today. I would also like to say a few words in Bangla. আমি কে অনেক খুশি হয়েছি, কিন্তু আমি যে সোসাইটিতে জন্মগ্রহণ করেছি এবং আমি যে সোসাইটিতে পড়াশোনা করেছি, এই দুইটা সোসাইটি আমার সামনে একসাথে বসে আছে। এর জন্য আমি সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ বলতে চাই। I would like to thank all of you for being here tonight. I'm glad that the society in which I was born into and the society in which I studied are both seated here together with unity in their minds. I hope that for years to come, we will continue to have unity ingrained in our hearts, and that we use this as our weapon for our fight against poverty. As I had mentioned in my speech at Galadari, Colombo, until extreme poverty has ended, I will continue to crusade with my words for the rights of the poor. Ladies and gentlemen, poverty is not passivity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Zainab Ifthikar, for those wonderful words. I thought social service at Dr. Kifaya's doorstep had a destination. I'm sure it's not. It's a journey without destination. There's a person to take care and take forward for the societies. Thank you, Dr. Kifaya, and thank you, Ifthikar, and we are really blessed to have a wonderful daughter like Zainab. Now it's time to hear a few words from our chief guest, His Excellency Ghulam Moshi.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you very much for inviting me today. I'm really honored. Actually, when my very good friend Mr. Rasuldeen told me about today's program, I was a bit hesitant in this regard because I have invited a Bangladeshi businessman at my residence today. So, but I requested him if he can avoid today. But when I heard that she's only 15 years old and also from Bangladesh school, and a book written by her, Poverty is Not Passivity, it immediately touched my mind and soul that really I must be there, even if I have to adjust my time with my schedule tonight. Alhamdulillah, really I am honored. First of all, I thank Almighty Allah and to the parents that they were blessed with such a wonderful girl. May she, I pray that she have a long, happy, and peaceful life. I wish her all success. It surprises me when I got this book, that this book was written in only 30 days. I couldn't believe myself. And what it really did, actually, I just had only 2 days to go through it. I was so much impressed in each and every chapter that she opened us a new vision of human qualities. It is not only a book about a specific subject, poverty. It's a book about human qualities. I'm deeply touched. I thank her parents that they encouraged their daughter to write a book, publish a book. It's not easy these days when our parents are we are pushing our children to be successful only in their life in materialistic way. But this is really, the parents deserve all thanks and appreciation that they allowed their daughter to do something which she is really could contribute to the society and to human lives. Actually, poverty, we Bangladeshi, Indians of Pakistan, Sri Lanka, or Nepal, poverty is nothing new for us. We come across poverty. Because if you go to Europe or in North America, poverty is, they look at it from a different way. Because it's very difficult for them to understand what really poverty is. But here we all know what is poverty. We see ourselves in our daily life. But one thing I can assure you, Zainab, that we have come across a long way about eliminating poverty in our region. If we could recall 30 years back, 40 years back, what sort of poverty we had in Sri Lanka or India or Bangladesh, alhamdulillah, we could overcome. There is poverty still there, but the depth or the impact of poverty is much less than what used to be 2 or 3 or 4 decades back. So, in a sense, our political leaders, the societies, are working very hard to eliminate poverty. So, I don't want to go in debate with you, but I just want to add some few points which may help you in writing or looking into these affairs in future. I personally feel, you have mentioned about education is one of the key for poverty, education. I attended a conference last year about World Bank. The World Bank has always, in the last 1 decade, have mentioned in their program that education is key to overcome poverty. But one lady, a British lady, who runs a very good NGO in Bangladesh, Samantha Morshed, she stood up and told the World Bank experts that from her experience working in Bangladesh with the poor people, it's not education which is causing them to be in the poverty or in some bracket where they have to live with poverty or with some employment. She made it a point that it is actually the employment which is most important to overcome the poverty. Because when a person gets an employment, she or he can think about the children welfare, the children medical, the children education. But once you give the poor people an education, and if you cannot provide them employment, then they get double frustrated. I am educated, but I am not getting proper employment. So he or she cannot think about getting medical to the children or health or what you call education. So employment, I think, is also, to me also, I am convinced that education is more important, employment is more important to overcome poverty. Because you see, in 1976 or 77, the World Bank has clearly mentioned in their program that 50% of Bangladesh, at that time we had only 75 million population. The World Bank has given an opinion that by the year another 1985, 50% of Bangladeshi will die because of hunger and poverty and natural calamities. Alhamdulillah, we are 160 million people now. There was no famine by the grace of Almighty Allah from 1975 onward till date. One of the reason is actually our government and these leaders of the society, they could identify and could take real good steps to address to these reasons for this famine or hunger or poverty. And Dr. Yunus of Grameen, Sir Fazl Abed of BRAC, they played a very big role in our society and in our country to overcome these problems. So right now, just to give you example, the Saudi government has given opportunity from Bangladesh to bring in about 500,000 housemaid, female housemaid. But till today, we are finding it difficult to cross 5,000. The reason is it's not that our people are not rich or the women are not rich or enough wealth. They do have to, but what they have now in our country, they themselves have their employment back in Bangladesh. So we are finding it difficulty that as the girls already have female, they have the employment back in home. They are not willing to come to a country like Saudi Arabia. And I'm sure, and many people around here sitting here, and you can see yourself also, that 90% people who come in a country like Saudi Arabia or Middle East or Gulf or go abroad, 90% is default. Only 10% goes by choice. If we could have provided employment back at home, I'm sure 90% of people wouldn't have gone to serve in this sort of atmosphere. Because I know a little bit about Sri Lanka. You have a wonderful weather, wonderful people. Same thing in Bangladesh. Who would like to leave behind their families and the mother and the parents and children to come and work in such a harsh condition? Our country is much, much better. I don't want to say that this country is bad, but weather-wise, loving us, because you see any workers working in a country like Gulf states or Middle East, each people have a sad story because he or she has to leave behind children or parents behind. Every 2 or 3 years, she goes back or he goes back. He finds many of her close friends or relatives, they are no more in this earth. So it is very heart-touching. So I believe that if we could have provided enough employment, our country could have developed, and our people, we could have easily overcome this poverty to great extent. So, as you know, how we have overcome this poverty, it's not only the NGOs, it is also the infrastructure. Nowadays, movement is very easy. Electronic media is very fast. Anything goes any wrong in some region, immediately it comes within hours, it comes into television. Government is alert. So you see, we have come across, really, it's not the poverty. It's to my opinion, it's very serious nowadays in our region. What is serious now is, as I mentioned, the employment. Another thing which is degrading, that is also we should address, is the human values and the human qualities. A poor people doesn't need alms or charity. He or she needs a dignity. And how you can provide him the dignity is because if you can give him with a human touch and human values. So that is what we should also address to the human values, because that is getting, I should say, it's getting, it's a matter to be of concern. And regarding the example which you mentioned, Rizwana, it is really touchy. I've gone through this book. It is really touchy. And whenever I see a Bangladeshi man or woman working, I really pray that they can go back safe and in good health. Because we come here and work and give our best period of our life, we sacrifice in a foreign land. If we could have got this sort of opportunity back at home, I'm sure the country would have been benefited, our society would have been benefited. All the tall buildings over here, or metro rail, whatever you say, It is built by people like from our countries, maybe because of some money. But I think, really, I feel that if we could have given the employment opportunities to our countrymen, it would have been a lot of people would have stayed back, wouldn't have taken the trouble to come and serve here. But Alhamdulillah, we are also grateful to the government of the Gulf and the Saudi Arabia that they gave us the opportunity for employment. If the employment would have been available to our countrymen, life would have been more difficult. So at least the people who are hardworking, they can go abroad and do the job. So we should be also thankful to the government where we are serving, because they are providing and giving us the opportunity, which our government back at home have failed. So we should also appreciate and really be grateful to the country where we are working and serving. So once again, I thank you all for giving me this opportunity to be here today. And I thank the parents of Zainab. Zainab, you keep it up. I'm sure, I pray one day you will be a great lady. Because I pray you will not be famous just in writing, but you will uphold always the human values. That is the greatest thing. Because we, people over here, in the next 50 years, or maybe 100 years, nobody here will be alive. But I'm sure the human values, the books you will be writing will keep on a great impact for the future. I pray for your good health once again and wish you all the best. Thank you all. Khuda Hafiz.
Thank you, His Excellency. I'm sure those words are truly from your bottom of your heart. And since he has to leave early, we would like to advance the launching of the book or the distribution of the book. I would like to request the young authors, Ms. Zainab Ifthikar, to present the first copy in Riyadh, to His Excellency, the Ambassador, and our chief guest, Mr. Mohammad Rasuluddin. Just of honor to receive this copy. And before the ambassador leaves, I would like a couple of copies to be given to our community members. Can we have the first copy to the community, Mr. Imtiaz Yasin, to receive from His Excellency? By the way, the book and whatever the amount that you are going to give towards this book will be, it will be used or it will be given to a charity for a worthy cause. So please show your generosity towards this event. Can you have Mr. Imtiaz Yasin? Yes. We invite Mr. Fazal of Faizalia. By the way, Mr. Fazal's children also studying at the Bangladesh International School. It's a very proud moment for him also. Thank you, His Excellency. Thank you, Ifthikar, Dr. Kifaya, and Zainab. Since His Excellency is hosting some guests at home, it's time for us to send him, and we'll continue with our program. Thank you very much, sir, for giving us this opportunity and gracing this occasion at your busy schedule. Thank you very much. And we are going to give away some more books, and that will be done by our guest of honor, Mr. Rasuldin. We have already done with Mr. Imtiaz Yazin. And can we have something from Imtiaz Yazin's daughter? I think she has something to declare here. Can we have Amana? Thank you, I got the message. Amana Imtiaz is donating Saudi Riyal 2,000 toward the worthy cause of this book. Thank you, Amana. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for the parents of Amana Imtiaz. Again, I would like to say, whatever the amount or whatever the money that you are going to give for this book is going to go for a worthy cause. Next, I would like to call upon Mr. Veera Kaun from the Sri Lankan Embassy to receive his copy of the book from our guest of honor. Mr. Veera Kaun on stage, please. Would like to have the principal of the Sri Lankan International School, Mr. Nazir, to receive his copy of Poverty is Not Passivity. Can we have Mr. Priyal Waragoda on stage, please? Next, Dr. Haris to receive his copy of book. Shall we have Mr. Mohammed Taslim? Mr. Mohammed Taslim? Yep. A family member? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rasuldin. And just we'll go with the agenda and we'll come back again. Next, I would like to call upon a person holding many titles in Toastmasters, former Division B Governor, past Sri Lankan Expatriates Society President, Charter President of Tamil Toastmasters Club and past President of Zainab Toastmasters Club, and past board member of the Sri Lankan International School. Let me welcome Mr. Tangasamy to deliver his speech.
Our guest of honor, Mr. Muhammad Rasuldin, and Principal of Sri Lankan International School and the Board of Directors, the blessed and the luckiest parents, Mr. Ifthikar and Dr. Kifaya Ifthikar, and the lovely princess, and the youngest author of this time, all this time, Zainab Ifthikar. And my dear friends, good evening to you all. If you want to wish somebody or giving them a blessing, it should be from your bottom of your heart. Here, it's my mother tongue is Tamil. If I say anything, it should be in Tamil. Then it should come from my bottom of heart. So I like to say a few words in Tamil. Vidalai Paruvathile அனைத்து பாடங்களிலும் மிகச்சிறந்த அதிசித்தி பெற்று இந்த சிறிய வயதிலேயே அதி உன்னதமான சிந்தனைகளை கொண்டு இங்கு வீற்றிருக்கும் நமது இளைய எழுத்தாளரான சைனப் அவர்களுக்கும் மற்றும் அவரை பெற பாக்கியம் பெற்றிருக்கும் அவருடைய பெற்றோர் அவர்களுக்கும் எனது முதற்கண் நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கின்றேன் இந்த சந்தர்ப்பத்தை எனக்கு வழங்கியதற்காக. இன்றைய காலத்து பிள்ளைகளை நாங்கள் பார்க்கும் பொழுது கணினியும் கைத்தொலைபேசியும் சுற்றி கொண்டு திரியும் இந்த காலகட்டத்திலே ஒரு குழந்தை சமூக சிந்தனையுடன் தொலைநோக்கு சிந்தனையுடன் சிந்திக்குமேயானால் இந்த இளவட்டத்திலே நாங்கள் வைத்திருக்கின்ற கண்ணோட்டமே மாறுகின்றது. We all talk about our children. They are playing with iPhone or iPad. They are wasting their time. When you talk about this young lady, the thinking and the writing in this age is changing our view of the young generation. வறுமை என்று சொல்லுகின்ற பொழுது இங்கு ஒரு பேச்சாளர் கூறியது போல் வறுமையை நாங்கள் எவ்வாறு உணர்கின்றோம்? சவுதி அரேபியாவில் பிறந்த ஒரு குழந்தை வறுமையை எவ்வாறு உணர முடிகின்றது? எந்த வகையிலுமே அதற்கு சந்தர்ப்பம் கிடையாது. அவர்கள் வறுமையை கண்டிருக்க கூட எந்த வகையிலுமே ஒரு காரணமும் கிடையாது. பெற்றோர்கள் வேண்டுமானால் சிறிய ஒரு வறுமையிலே அடிபட்டு இருக்கலாம், ஆனால் இந்த பிள்ளைகளுக்கு அந்த சந்தர்ப்பம் இல்லை. ஆனால் இப்பிள்ளை இவ்வறுமையை உணர்ந்து அதிலுள்ள ஆதங்கத்தை வெளிப்படுத்துகின்றதேயானால் இது மிகவும் ஒரு பாராட்டப்பட வேண்டிய விஷயம். ஐயன் திருவள்ளுவன் தனது ஒரு குறளிலே சொல்லுகின்ற பொழுது நல்குரவு என்ற அதிகாரத்தில் வறுமையை பற்றி இப்படி கூறுகின்றான்: இன்மையின் இன்னாது யாதனின் இன்மையின் இன்மையே இன்னாதது. அதாவது வறுமையைப் போல் துன்பமானது எது என்று உங்களிடத்தில் யாராவது கேட்பார்களேயானால் வறுமைக்கு இணையானது வறுமை மாத்திரமே என்று. There is no comparison between poverty and some other thing. If you want to compare something with poverty, the poverty is the comparison. இந்த ஆதங்கம், இதன் வறுமையின் கொடுமையை வள்ளுவர் இவ்வளவு அழகாக சொல்லியிருக்கின்றார். இதன் ஆழம் இந்த புத்தகத்திலே தெரிகின்றது. துரதிர்ஷ்டவசமாக எனக்கு இந்த புத்தகத்தை முழுதுமாக படிக்கக்கூடிய சந்தர்ப்பம் கிடைக்கவில்லை. இவருடைய நேர்காணல், அதாவது இன்டர்வியூஸ் மூலம் கிடைக்கப்பெற்ற சில தகவல்களை வைத்தே நான் இங்கு கூறுகின்றேன். இந்த வறுமையை பற்றி அவர் கூறுகின்ற பொழுது வறுமை எவ்வளவு கொடுமையானது என்பதை, அது இந்த உள்ளத்தை தாக்கியிருக்கின்றதே என்றால் இது ஒரு மிக முக்கியமான விடயம். பெரியவர்களே இதை பற்றி சிந்திக்காத பொழுது இச்சொரு சின்னஞ்சிறுமி இவ்வறுமையை பற்றி சிந்தித்து அதற்காக சில தீர்வுகளையும் சொல்லியிருக்கின்றார். இதுதான் இங்கு முக்கியமான விஷயம். நாங்கள் எல்லோரும் சொல்கின்றோம், அதாவது பொதுவாக சொல்லிவிட்டு சென்று விடுவோம் வறுமையை ஒழிக்க வேண்டும் என்று. ஆனால் வறுமையை ஒழிப்பதற்கு என்ன தீர்வு என்பதை இவர் இந்த புத்தகத்திலே குறிப்பிட்டிருக்கின்றார். இன்னும் ஒரு இடத்திலே வள்ளுவர் சொல்லுகின்றார்: நெருப்பினும் துஞ்சுமாகும் நிரப்பினுள் யாதனும் கண்பாடு அரிது. அதாவது நெருப்புக்குள் கூட ஒரு மனிதன் தூங்கிவிடலாம், நித்திரை கொண்டு விடலாம், ஆனால் வறுமைக்குள் ஒரு மனிதன் வாழ்ந்துவிட முடியாது என்று. வறுமையின் கொடுமை அவ்வளவு ஆழமானது. அதை ஆங்கிலத்திலே சொல்ல வேண்டுமானால், one may sleep in the midst of fire but by no means in the midst of poverty. எந்த ஒரு மனிதனும் தனது சமூக சேவைக்கு அடிப்படையாக ஒரு காரணத்தை கண்டு கொண்டு விட்டால் அது நிச்சயமாக வளர்ந்து ஒரு காலத்திலே ஒரு தீயாக பரவிவிடும். ஒரு சிறு துளி ஒரு காட்டை எப்படி அழிக்கக்கூடியதாக, சிறு துளி நெருப்பு ஒரு காட்டை எப்படி அழிக்க முடியுமோ அதே போன்று இன்று இவருடைய நெஞ்சத்திலே அந்த துளி நெருப்பு துளிர் விட்டிருக்கின்றது. இது நிச்சயமாக ஒரு காலத்திலே வளர்ந்து இந்த உலகத்தில் ஒரு மாற்றத்தை உண்டு பண்ணும் என்பதில் எந்தவித சந்தேகமும் இல்லை. ஆகவே இச்சிறுமி வளர்ந்து பெரியவளாகி இவளுடைய பெயர் பேசப்படுவது மாத்திரமல்ல, இந்த சமுதாயத்தில் ஒரு மாற்றத்தை கொண்டு வருவார் என்ற நம்பிக்கையோடு அவரை வாழ்த்தி, அவருக்கு இந்த சந்தர்ப்பத்தை அளித்த அவர்களை பெற்றோரை பெரிதும் வாழ்த்தி, இந்த சந்தர்ப்பத்தை அளித்தமைக்காக நன்றி கூறி விடைபெறுகின்றேன். வாழ்க வளர்க என்று கூறி.
Thank you, Mr. Tangasamy. We'd like to call again our guest of honor to distribute some more books. Can we have Mr. Muhitul Riyadh, a parent of Bangladesh International School? Mrs. Lalit Sivanandam. Can we have Mr. Hajat, Muhammad Hajat, staff, Sri Lankan International School, who has also taught Zainab in her IGCSE. Mr. 5, staff, Sri Lankan International School. Can we have Azwar Haji, can we have Fauz Haji here, Mr. Fauz? Mrs. Roshan Hamid. Mrs. Aisha Imtiaz. Mrs. Nisha, the staff, Bangladesh International School. Mr. Azhar Samin, Chairman of the Board of Directors, Sri Lanka International School. Mr. Hisham Shahid, Deputy Chairman, Board of Directors, Sri Lanka International School. Mr. Rajni Farooq, Academic Chairman, Board of Management, Sri Lanka International School. Mr. Andrew Sinan. Mr. Riaz Yusuf, Arab National Bank. Dr. Mahdi. Mr. Hepti Arachi, Sri Lankan Embassy. Yeah. Mr. Hepti Arachi from Sri Lankan Embassy. Subramaniam Tangasamy. Mr. Ilyas, uncle of Zainab. Mr. Chandana Kulotunga, staff, Sri Lanka International School. Mr. Ramiz. Dr. A.K. Mashraf. Mr. Ahmad Gunawardana. Can we have Mr. Jaffris here? Mr. Jaffris. Thank you, lady. Thank you, gentlemen. It's now time to listen to the powerful pen of the community. The powerful pen of the community. A writer knows much about a writer. A person needs no further introduction because I already said he's the powerful pen of our community. Help me welcome our guest of honor this evening, Mr. Mohammad Rasuldeen, to speak a few words.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Our author, Zainab Ifthikar, and her parents, Mr. Ifthikar and Dr. Kifaya Ifthikar, distinguished guests, all are big people here like Imtiaz, Fazal, and all these people. I can't name all the people here, but all are distinguished guests. And I feel very small to stand before you as a guest of honor. The history was this. We were trying to get a guest of honor, and I was responsible to get a guest of honor. I was trying high and low to get a guest of honor, and that guest of honor, unfortunately, today he is in London. So we couldn't get him. So finally, Dr. Kifaya said, don't worry, we have found a guest of honor. I said, very good, but tell me who is the guest of honor. She said, no, I won't tell you. I said, please tell me, because I am doing everything, so you must tell me who is the guest of honor. No, I'll tell you later. And day before yesterday, husband, wife, and Zainab came home, and they said, we have found a guest of honor. I said, who is that? Very good. It's you. Then I said, I am a part of your family. We are one. So let us take someone else. Then it will be better for us. And we can get his cooperation also. But unfortunately, there was no time. So I became a victim of of this whole game. Anyway, the first point is I have to thank our ambassador who was here. He kindly consented within a short period. Although he had a program, he was able to come and spend a little time. Although he's not here, it is my bounden duty to thank him, register all our appreciation for his presence here. And number two, before I talk about the daughter, first we must give a special credit to the father and mother who had brought this daughter to this level. We speak so highly of this, of her performance, the daughter's performance. The daughter's performance will never be if it were not for the support of the parents. Father, mother would have given the best cooperation, and because of their cooperation only, you have come to that state. So you have to be grateful. And on behalf of all the parents, we all owe an appreciation to these father and mother for bringing up such a good daughter and making her proud of us, of our community. And yesterday, I got an email after seeing her invitation. She said, a friend of mine, you all must be knowing our former Intercontinental Maulana. He had put a note saying that this girl has made proud of 3 countries have become proud. One is Sri Lanka, because she is a citizen of Sri Lanka. The other is Bangladesh, because she studied in Bangladesh. And she is in Saudi Arabia, and she brought credit to Saudi Arabia also. So 3 countries are proud of this girl who has published this at this age. So it's a great achievement. But I have something more to say. Not only these 3 countries, I think I Googled and saw, is there any other author who have written such a book at this age in Asia? I don't think there's in Asia, no one has written a book like this at this age. So I hope, I'm not sure if I'm not mistaken, she is the #1 author who has published a 30,000 word book in Asia. And about Zainab, yesterday I was asking, what urged you to do this? Why did you publish this book? She said, no uncle, I was very worried about this poverty. People are coming to Saudi Arabia as housemaids, and they are suffering a lot because they are not, because of poverty only they are coming. I want to uplift them. Then I said, what is your plan? What do you want to do? And she said, I am targeting all the politicians, policy makers, decision makers in Sri Lanka to make some programs to alleviate poverty. I said, very good. But what is next? Then she was telling, I wanted to organize a fund to alleviate poverty. I said, very good. If all of us can help her to organize a fund, inshallah. Then I said, when are you going to do this? Then she said, she wants to do it after her examination in January. Inshallah, we wish her best. If she is really interested in organizing a fund to alleviate poverty, we as Sri Lankans, we can help her. We can form an organization or whatever is a small committee to do that. There are good big people here. So we can do that. Now I come back to Imtiaz. We hardly meet. We meet at the airport only. Either he meets or I meet. Then he says, Haji, you are a big man. I also say, you are a big man. Unfortunately, as journalists, everyone thinks that we are very big and we are running here and there. So therefore, thank you very much for everything. And I have told you about my history of my being a guest of honor. Thank you very much for everything, for tolerating me. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Dr. Ifthikar. Thank you, Mr. Ifthikar. Thank you, Zainab, for listening. Thank you, everyone, for patiently listening to me. Thanks. Thank you.
Can we have our guest of honor again, giving away some more books? Mr. Roshan from Sri Lankan Embassy. Mr. Roshan. Mr. Rizan Anwar. Mr. Dofi Ahmed, Qatar Airways. Mr. Irshad, Gama Limited. Before I call the next person, let me announce a couple of donations towards the book. Mr. Ilyas has donated Saudi Riyal 1,500 towards a worthy cause. Dr. Haris has donated Saudi Riyal 1,000 towards this worthy cause. The time is 8:45 and tomorrow being a working day, we would like to cut short the list because we have some dinner waiting for us. But I can't help without calling this name. A huge personality, a very nice heart. No function without his footstool in Sri Lankan community. Let me welcome Sabir, the Prince of Puttalam. He has already indicated the amount, depend on the amount you promoted. Thank you, Sabir. Thank you, Mr. Rasool. Thank you, Zainab. Thank you, Ifthikar. Again, since the time is 8:45, I'm not going to get more names because we have to go with the dinner. But the books are available, and the person in charge to receive your donations, not Ifthikar, we believe Rukshan. Rukshan Johardin will be, he is in charge there. He is ready to collect. He has a number of envelopes that you can put your contribution in the envelope and hand it over to him. If you don't want your name to be pronounced, so you can do so. At this junction, we are at the end of our program. On behalf of Mr. Ifthikar, Dr. Kifaya, Ms. Zainab, and their family members here, I would like to thank each and every one of you for accepting their invitation and gracing this occasion. Your presence, of course, is going to boost not only Zainab and many more young authors and authors in our community. Thank you so much and good night. Assalamu alaikum. The dinner is there, I think, in the other hall. Ifthikar? Yep. Yeah, the envelope, a closed envelope is just passed by our guest of honor to Zainab. Thank you, guest of honor. Thank you, Mr. Rasuldin, for that wonderful gesture. Thank you very much and good night. Assalamu alaikum to all.